Hello everyone, it's Gigabeef here, and in today's video I'm going to show you how to build this RPK for only 75,000 rubles. What a bargain. The gun has 72.5 ergo and 58 recoil, and it comes with a nice holographic already. How is this possible? With the power of Barters. The specific barter in question is this one on Mechanic 2, the M870 Breacher. You can only get one per cycle, and it's not really a secret because it is often sold out on the trader, primarily due to the amazing value that it brings. For one power bank and a weapons part, you can get a hold of this shotgun, but clearly the gun itself isn't what we're interested in, it's the parts on it. As for the barter pieces, weapon parts are typically around 25k, although you can make your own in the hideout using either the SKS craft for 1 or the VPO 209 craft for 2. The VPO 209 is usually better, and the trick here is to remember that you just need to have one that is functional to do the craft, i.e. your PMC could actually hold it and it isn't red in your inventory. Often you can pick them up on fence for around 20k working, or even cheaper at 16k or so not working, requiring at the bare minimum an Ultimac gas block, which takes care of both the gas tube and the handguard at once, and a pistol grip. Together these are just over 3k. Powerbanks are commonly on the flea for 14,000 rubles or so, meaning that even if we just use the flea market prices for these, it costs about 40,000 rubles total for the barter ingredients to get this shotgun. As we said, the real value is in the parts. The amazing mods that we get are firstly the RVG Black foregrip, which is a Peacekeeper 3 attachment and typically the best bang for buck on grips, an MOE Carbine stock with the buttpad, which is usually the hard part to get a hold of, and these are Peacekeeper 3 attachments too, and also usually best bang for buck across our stock choices as well. Finally, we get a really nice holographic sight, the XPS-32. Taking off all of these parts, we can sell the rest of the weapon back to Mechanic for 19k, meaning that the package of attachments cost us 21,000 rubles. Bearing in mind that it costs about 48,000 even if you have the trader levels to buy all of these pieces, here we're getting a massive discount, and that's without even having Peacekeeper 3. The question now is, where can we put these parts? I kind of spoiled this already in the title, but the RPK is a really good choice for middling recoil builds on a budget. This is because it has one of the better starting recoils at 71 versus the AK-74N, which begins at 80, effectively saving you the cost of getting a better handguard and having better recoil because of it. When we're looking at best in slot weapons, the RPK isn't as good anymore because of this restricted modding, but for efficient builds in the middling recoil ranges, it's very effective for the price. Also, the RPK naturally comes with the buffer tube adapter to allow us to fit the MOE Carbine, so all of these parts just slap right on. The only piece that we have to buy separately here is the muzzle brake. The best that you can get from Skier 2 at this stage is still the DTK1 with minus 13% recoil. Once we've bought our actual weapon, what we want to do is strip the parts off. So you take the RVG Black off, you take off the sight, and you take off the MOE Carbine and stock. And then we're going to go and edit the preset of the RPK. We're going to fit all these pieces on. It's really not that complicated to build. We're going to add the DTK1 on here. Going to add the RVG Black on there. Then instead of the AK-12, we're going to replace this with the black version of the MOE Carbine. Have to make this one, otherwise it won't assemble properly. And remember to put on the stock butt pad as well. And then on the top, we're going to have to find our XPS-32. When we do that, when we press assemble, it should just all go together once we've bought the muzzle brake. So we're going to buy this for 5k from Skier. Well, now that we've got this, press escape and assemble, and off we go. So fitting all these parts together and taking off the magazine just for comparison's sake, we get to our 72.5 ergonomics and 58 recoil. Pretty cool, eh? In terms of how it performs, it feels very similar to the other AKs in terms of handling, just a little better than the budget kits we've been talking about recently because of the improved recoil, and for about the same price, but with also a much higher quality optic. One downside to the RPK, which is worth pointing out, is that it doesn't level or use your assault rifle skill and instead levels LMGs instead, which is unfortunate but matters less at the start of a patch. Unless you want to use the RPK all the time, by using this weapon you'll be missing out on the progress you've made skill-wise on the other assault rifles that you've used in raid, and you'll not be leveling this skill either with it. Right now for me at Assault Rifle 3, it's only a 1% reload speed increase, 1% recoil reduction and 1% ergonomics increase, as well as a 2% weapon switch speed, but as these go up over time, they can add up to make it not as worthwhile to use it. Alright, so let me just warn you here, this barter, as I said, is not a secret. It wasn't sold out this morning when making the video, but often I see it out of stock, especially later on in the day. This is an issue with the global stock limit in general, as the Americas player base is the biggest, and the more people that are on, the faster the global stock disappears, as the limits themselves are static. If you're really keen to snag one, you do have to do what we always end up doing when limits are involved, and that's checking when the reset is on mechanic or whatever trader, setting timers and hitting the buy button as soon as possible. Is it engaging and fun gameplay? Absolutely not. But sometimes it's necessary if you want to get one of these. The other barter which can be used to do some specific things is the Prokill M4 barter. This comes with all sorts of stuff on it, but the highest value parts for us again are the MOE Carbine stock, this time in tan, the Elcan scope and the QDSS suppressor. Prokills tend to sit around the 65k mark on the flea, but if you can get them lower than this, then all the better. The entire weapon sells back to mechanic for just under 130,000 rubles, which explains the Prokill price, but as we take off certain parts and sell the remainder, we can see that the MOE Carbine stock, for example, is just over 6k for both the stock itself and the pad versus nearly 20,000 rubles even on the trader. The Elcan scope then costs us 21,000 versus at least 30k on the flea, and I've seen them recently up to about as much as 50k, and finally the suppressor and muzzle combo at about 30,000 rubles. This one is kind of close to the flea plus trader value, which usually comes to around 35,000 but is still a bit cheaper. Using these two barters, we can reach ahead to Peacekeeper 3 parts, and some real good ones, and often cheaper than we could buy them even if we did have him. So as usual, a big shout out to all my patrons, hit all the buttons if you enjoyed the video, and as always, have fun in your raids.